My name is Ajeet, Khurana.
I'm Sergey, Maslov.
Hi everyone, my name is John.
My name is Sachin, Kumar.
My name is Illia.
I'm Sasha.
But I think nobody can doubt that stablecoin as a mechanism of payment has made a huge difference.
And this DeFi was dead right now. A new DeFi was born, and I guess
This is the moment we would know we have won. It's when people will use it without even knowing it's DeFi.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very big industry. DeFi is not going to be anywhere. It is going to be big, big, big over a period of time.
But like true DeFi, it should be always decentralized, should be always fully on-chain.
Not every protocol is dead. They're still existing, and maybe they have to reshape something to improve. What are your thoughts on that part? Hello, beautiful people. I'm very glad seeing you here, and today we're going to discuss this topic, which is DeFi is dead. Long life DeFi, and I'm really curious because I'm actually presenting the project who is leading the aggregation part at DeFi, and I'm really was surprised about this topic and want to ask you guys why DeFi is dead and want to prove it's not dead, and we're working on even improving more. And yes, let's start from the basically short introductions. I'm Sasha, and I'm head of BD at 1inch. Maybe, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Ajeet Khurana.
Yeah.
I am founder of Reflexical. I work with a wide variety of crypto projects.
Thanks, Sergey.
I'm Sergey Maslov. I'm CTO of Fintopia. I evolving with DeFi from Degen DeFi to more traditional DeFi. So I represent Fintopia today.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jean. I'm CEO and founder of Crunch. So we basically gathering models for financial institutions. We have 8,000 machine learning engineers in the world, about 1,200 PhD that are all orchestrated through Crunch protocol.
Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Sachin Kumar, and I'm the founder of Jumbo Blockchain. It's not a blockchain anymore, it's an entire ecosystem for the new projects.
Hey, my name is Illia. I'm a co-founder and CEO of LTV protocol. We are building the leverage tokens, basically the first ever curatorless leverage tokenized vaults, to be precise.
Thanks a lot, guys. By the way, just to understand, who knows about DeFi? Who knows what DeFi is? Okay, and who knows what the difference between DeFi and centralized exchanges? All right, not that much, or they are not just listening to us. So today I'm going to basically, let's just divide our discussion in three parts. First is basically let's discuss the current state of DeFi. The second part may be what things we have to improve, what lessons should be learned. Maybe focus a bit on the institutional part and maybe discuss some trends in DeFi that maybe help us to achieve some more results in DeFi area. So guys, first question to you, what is your feeling? What is the current status of DeFi? Who wants to start and discuss?
So, working on the assumption that none of these people are violently inclined, I'll begin with something controversial because you said that DeFi is not dead. You are right.
No,
DeFi,
I'm not. I'm on the other
you
part.
want to prove that. So I agree that it is not dead because how can something which never took birth die? What I mean is, so sorry about that, but what I mean is that the promise of DeFi in its very name was decentralized finance. While technologically it was decentralized because of the blockchain and all of its inherent characteristics, but if you look at how it went about, the rent seekers and gatekeepers of the centralized world were replaced by rent seekers and gatekeepers in the decentralized world. So while, like I said, the protocol level it's decentralized, but in reality I never felt it was decentralized, and I did not ever feel that it was giving me the joys that I expected from DeFi.
Thank you. Maybe someone else wants to comment on the current status.
Yeah, well, DeFi is not dead at all. You still have billion moving, Uniswap, Aave is moving a lot. For sure, there is less noise around it, and I think it's kind of good. Nothing is happening on the on the public space. And when you're building, it's also nice to have a bit of a quiet environment. So a lot of developers now are, have been facing the violence of the chart and are kind of rebuilding what DeFi is becoming. It's a very, very exciting environment. There's a lot of things happening. But I think we're going to discuss that. There is plenty of things happening in DeFi now, and that's really, really an interesting place, actually.
Maybe the question now, why DeFi is not dead? Then not why DeFi is dead. Yeah, please. Sachin, yeah. It works?
Okay, so yeah, it's working. So basically, DeFi is not, dead. There was a, boom time during 2020 and 2021 for the DeFi. But from where I see it personally, that it is evolving over a period of time. See, initially DeFi was there to solve the community problem. But now DeFi is evolving to solve the enterprise problem. Let me give a quick example. Any enterprise who is into the manufacturing today, then their bigger problem when it comes to the settlement of the payments which is happening between their vendors, their customers and the bank, and the reconciliation of all these things. Now there are the products who makes it more efficient and the real time, and which create a bigger value for the DeFi system, actually where it has to be and it should be used. It can save time, it can save money, it can save efforts, and gives the real time information, which is completely how to say it, it brings the immutability into the transactions basically. And that is the value which is evolving over a period of time now.
Anyone else wants to, what's your thoughts on basically, there was a DeFi summer in 2020, and what's your thought on what was worked and what basically disappeared right now, and what basically habits or trends we should keep in DeFi, and what basically, yeah, feel free.
Yeah, actually, I'm joined DeFi in 2020. I was reading about Uniswap, about Ethereum evolving.
1 inch.
And 1 inch, of course. I was like an early holder of 1 inch, and I sold it at a good point. In 2021, at the autumn, I sell it, but because I receive a lot of rewards. So when I joined DeFi, it was really high yields, really high. Now it became less and less and lesser, and it was high risk. What I mean by high risk, I have to check several protocols, their UI, how much I yield, and was this protocol already hacked or not? Or maybe rug pulled or not? Was the liquidity removed or not? What would happen with this protocol? And I have to check also socials of this network, because from time to time, all the social networks was disappear. So if I can't find the protocol name in Telegram or Twitter, I said, okay, my funds was lost. So, and I have several times, I have to enter the Ethereum scanner, Etherscan, and call emergency withdraw to get my funds back, because the UI was already disappear, and I communicate in direct with smart contracts. So now it's disappear, and for me, like an early beginning of DeFi, the true DeFi was dead. So I agree with this assumption that is dead.
Interesting. But what is the true DeFi then?
Sorry, true?
What is true DeFi?
True DeFi, for me, it was like true decentralization, which said that the code is the law. Means that if there some hacker found a vulnerability and stole your funds, means it's correct, it's true DeFi. Because you personally did not make a proper DOR, you did not check this. For example, the people who now check that it's a certic audited, most of them never check that certic audited one direct commit And what exactly was smart contract was deployed using which commit? No one checks. Maybe personally only me. And you take all the responsibility of your funds if you put it in DeFi. Of course, you receive high yields, but you take really high risks. And this DeFi was dead right now. A new DeFi was born, and I guess next 30 minutes we will discuss new DeFi.
All right, but I will still keep thinking that through DeFi, like at least on our end, we keep identifying ourselves as DeFi dreamers since 2019 and providing the true DeFi principles in our, at least with 1inch. And I believe at least in the area that we are responsible for, true DeFi is still existing.
Okay, let it be true DeFi. It's my subjective naming, okay? True DeFi. Of course,
right.
everything is DeFi. Everything is DeFi. But for me personally, that I'm writing my blog, the true DeFi, it's about you believe that code is the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there have been some practice that kind of damage a bit the space. And you mentioned it. You say you receive a lot of reward and there were a lot of liquidity farming and this kind of things, right? We can say it like some of DeFi protocol were, using that without really having a real product behind, right? So it was basically trying to get attention, and then when the reward kind of went away, then the liquidity also went away. So I think this practice, this part of DeFi is definitely dead. I think we're coming with real use case now, and the future of eventually a new financial system.
So though I began with some pessimism to bring in the other side, but I think nobody can doubt that stablecoin as a mechanism of payment has made a huge difference. As in now, I think the volumes of stablecoin, the market cap of stablecoins, as well as the acceptability of stablecoins, especially when you are in a place like Dubai, I think that has made a hell of a difference. Other aspects of DeFi, I think pretty much like Sergey said, that it is still finding its feet.
All right.
Let me give a very, the real example of the world is like supply chain financing, invoice financing basically. And that is a very big pain area when it comes to the small and medium businesses. Problem is today that supply chain financing can be done through the banks all across the globe. Not an individual can participate in that. But the blockchain and the DeFi platform where the real-time data is integrated with the enterprises and prove the solid invoicing out there, and the individual can come and participate in that process quite simply and make profit out of this. That is one of the real world example basically which can create bigger value when it comes to the true decentralization of the centralized system basically, which is there where the opportunity was not there earlier, but now it's a big opportunity.
Thanks. Anything else to add to this current status of DeFi?
Yeah, I actually want to agree with Sergey about the true DeFi, but for me it's like the old DeFi should be about this, and we just seen like the protocols who don't have like this kind of trustless and enough trustless in the code, they just disappear with the time. I think there is like basically two kind of categories that we can define in a DeFi. It's like some structured products for the end users that can be curated, that can be with some manual intervention, and it's okay because they always will be just to simplify user experience. But like true DeFi, it should be always decentralized, should be always fully on chain. And I think important thing that nobody mentioned yet is that when the code is like your real rules for your protocol, it gives you ability to predict the behavior of the protocol. And this is really important because the DeFi is also about the composability, and the composability cannot be achieved without this ability to predict the behavior of the protocol. So I think that's why like all the core protocols in the DeFi, they will stay decentralized, and those which are not, they will be just that. Yeah, and that's what we can see like with. I think that's the topic that DeFi is dead is about, like these old protocols which is dead just because of that.
Good. So who's still thinking that DeFi is dead? All right. Then not much. So let's just then maybe move to the basically trends that are now improving the new DeFi and the new innovations. Maybe you can just highlight what you believe in the DeFi which is now growing. What are the trends that you are believing, and maybe what has to be done. Maybe the previously for the protocols who maybe dead already to become successful nowadays, because not every protocol is dead. They're still existing, and maybe they have to reshape something to improve. What are your thoughts on that part?
So I'm a Bitcoiner from 2014. So what I'm about to tell you, I believe is the truth, but I don't like it. So the truth is that DeFi has moved more mainstream. Things like the travel rule that the banking industry had is now getting adopted. Today, if you want to do DeFi transactions in places like Switzerland or Dubai, there is actually regulations which tell you what you need to do about it, how wallets have to be identified, how KYC and AML works. So while DeFi was, the degens who were doing it maybe a couple of years ago, but today it's getting increasingly mainstream. It has its pros and cons. The pro is that, well, adoption shoots up. The con is that it does not truly remain decentralized. It just has some of the characteristics. And for better or worse, I think that is where we are headed.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sergey.
Let me explain. I see at least 3 Russian speakers here in the stage. So I tried to compare DeFi with domestic wine. Then in Russia, I guess not only in Russia, people make their home wine using grape which grows on their dacha or country houses. And everyone have the different wine with different taste, with different alcohol, but all the grape grown in Russia, for example, on a CIS region, and the same is DeFi. All of us speaking about DeFi, but with some different tastes. Someone focused on KYC, AML, and so on. For me, as you already see, DeFi is like a true DeFi. And what I want to highlight, except the wine, that now I try to measure DeFi projects with my understanding where the yields come from. And if the yields connected with transaction fees, swap fees, lending borrowing protocol fees, or fees coming from the area solutions, for example, nowadays some stable coins allows to receive real yields from real banking system, real commodities put on the chain using, for example, some kind of reflection, rebasing, and I see that real yields come from something real. For me, it's a good DeFi where I'm going to put my money in and understand that where yields come from. If people don't understand where the yields come from, the people funds is the yield.
Ponzi scheme, that's the definition.
It's called
I like
digital
it.
Darwinism, kind of. I think on my side, I think DeFi, the decentralization part of it is not a value proposal strong enough for adoption, right? You need a product, something that is new, different, cheaper, that has some value added for the users, right? So what I like, I think, in the recent movement is that people try to come with new primitives and new things. That include RWAs and etc. It's kind of a new primitive that doesn't exist, in the traditional finance world. I love that. The second thing that I really like, but I'm a bit biased, is the intersection of DeFi and AI. I think AI is going to make DeFi much easier to use. The UX is going to be better, the ability of embedding AI agents, within financial institution is much easier in DeFi than in any institution. And I'm building algorithm for institution. You need 9 months in some institution, and that's a real data, to implement an algorithm in production. 9 months. Whereas in DeFi, protocol are born on chain and already ready. You can put an AI next to the wallet, give it money, make it trade for you, make it swaps and do all these things that are very complex and sometimes even dangerous to do, much easier to perform. And I think that's a very interesting intersection for me, AI and DeFi together.
Yeah.
So basically, see again, we need to give the real-time, examples like so many banks are there who are already adopting DeFi concept. Like JP Morgan has already done the tokenization. RW tokenization is another example which comes into the play, and it is becoming a bigger market. See, we need to give the example so that layman can also understand. See, if we are sitting in this particular project which was built like say a couple of years back, then whose money was invested? It was, investors' money, and then there were very few people who took advantage out of this. But the same project, if it has been in this era and tokenized, then the individual also can take profit out of the project which is building over a period of time. So these are the real-time example basically, and DeFi works very well in that, which gives more transparency into the system, trust, and if there, like in UA, there is a regulations around it, so it gives trust of the people so that they can invest in the project at the same time. And this is going to be a very big industry. DeFi is not going to be anywhere. It is going to be big over a period of time.
Illia, you want to add something? Or sure.
Yeah, I think I want to add about the point of what lessons did we learn from the previous cycle of the DeFi.
Sure.
But I actually think unfortunately we didn't learn the lesson that the yield cannot be infinite, and that's it cannot be like the yield TVL incentivization cannot be the infinite source of the TVL. We just made the previous liquidity mining more sophisticated. We turned it into a point system when we can speculate on the expectation of the future token or something like that. And that can be wrong. It's like, I'm not saying that's a bad mechanism. It's still a good mechanism to attract the TVL. But I agree with the point, where is the yield coming from? So if your project in the end not generating yield, it will be just like the burst in the TVL and then you fade away. In case you have like the substantial revenue stream, in that case, great. It could be a great go-to-market strategy. But yeah, I think that the important lesson that we should learn, but I'm not sure if we learned it yet.
I would also add here in terms of the lessons, and basically I believe we also need to improve the user experience, because still DeFi is for the advanced users. You never, like I'm trying to educate my mom on how to DeFi, but it's hard. And maybe this is the other part that all protocols has to basically learn. I know there are like smart wallets, which is happening. The Ethereum Foundation is working on improving the onboarding process under like basically even on the layer, basically improving the whole blockchain itself. But the ideal situation is when you come and basically all cross-chain operations can happen in one wallet, which you can then connect with your socials even. So this is something that, yeah, Illia, you want to add something?
Yeah, but do you think it's even possible to take away all complexities that DeFi has from the end user?
Absolutely not. And this is what leads to another basically part, which is there is a B2B and institutional part, TradFi, that has to even improve more complex. It has to have more complexity, maybe security, AML, checking procedures and everything. And there is a B2C part, which is basically our way to onboard first billion users into DeFi, where we definitely have to improve. But this part will never happen without this part, because these guys looking for the liquidity, they won't trade with themselves. They need someone. They need this buying pressure. So we have to work into these two directions. And I want to touch this basically institutional part, guys. We are all speaking like lots of, it's one of the trends that basically happening right now. ETF and the institutions are looking for the DeFi. Basically, your thoughts on that part? If you're working on these directions, how? And should they TradFi both and DeFi existing in parallel? Or you think it's there are matching points where they can go and help to improve each other? Yeah.
So there are many points of intersection. The part where I have had direct personal engagement is where I have found some institutions accepting Bitcoin as collateral, which did not happen a few years ago. As in informally it could happen, but institutionally accepting Bitcoin as collateral for debt was unheard of. It is happening. That is the first part. The second interesting part at a philosophical level is, will the traditional institution, the classic finance, come and teach us how to be big boys and big girls? Or are they going to learn from us how to be new and modern boys and girls? And I think this is where there isn't too much of a consensus. I find both things happening in parallel. I find that the traditional institutes are trying to adopt new practices, but not fast enough and not enough to make us, the DeFi people, feel happy. That is where I think we are.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
There are several. There are already several examples how institutional or how trade fee goes to DeFi. It's quite a famous example. It's a Binance which allows to stake stable coins on their CeFi platform to increase the liquidity they have. And on other hand, they have the ability to stake your stable coins on CeFi, but they, from your behalf, stake it on Venus or Compound or Aave, it doesn't matter, and they charge you on kind of success fee, performance fee, and so on. And on the other hand, I see a big trend of institutional guys who try to grab some good, they want to be a properly certified. Господи. Есть на кошелек, который не they're going to grab their own custodial solution, but not to write them from scratch. They're trying to grab custodials like BitGo, Fireblocks, and so on, who built on quite new MPC, multi-party computational technology, but not at, it's like only one, the baseline. They have to build their own communication layer between the wallets in some interaction. It's only these several lines of, not a code, but of this SPI will happen, and which allows institutional to go to DeFi. And it's already happened, but it's not quite famous, but there are a lot of solutions who allow institutional to come into DeFi.
I'll say it's still very difficult to work with institutions, even if there is traction. This year we talked to BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, Vanek. All these guys are doing like RWAs, tokenized funds, even DeFi pilots with Guardian in Singapore, these kind of things. But in practice, when we have to work with them, and we do have, it's a bit difficult. We ended up doing strange convolution because we have to encrypt the models and even still deployed on there. So it's centralized but purely encrypted. So we end up in this kind of weird compromise that is not DeFi and that is not what's intended, but that's kind of the solution for the moment. And there is also a reason for that. The industry standards are often super high in terms of speed and availability. So you have to trade under millisecond threshold if you work with Forex, which we do. And then it's becoming very difficult to then work on chain because of that, or have the models that you want to support, the kind of intelligence you want to run. The availability is 99.9999. You know that, right? You cannot fail, otherwise this bank is gonna cut your service. So that's kind of the challenge I see that are still very hard to solve.
Thanks. Yeah. Anyone?
So again, the real-time example for TradeFi, basically. Let me give an example of a very large organization which people understand, and that is one of the large institutions, IBM. They have more than 15,000 patents granted for them, but they are getting revenue from the solutions which they are selling to the market, not from the patents which are lying with them. With this, making this tradable, tokenize it, make it tradable, create more value to the IBM, which is not possible in the Web 2 era. But that is something which is possible today, and make it tradable brings more value in the TradeFi platform, basically. And these are the opportunities which are creating more and more value over a period of time. Like we have 2 patents already granted in blockchain technology. What we did with, we fractionalized those patents as a native token of Jumbo blockchain. Now that patents fractionalization is getting utilized in the transaction fees payment and the other stuff, but at the same time, those are not just lying with us as an intangible asset in our balance sheet, but creating value for us over a period of time. So these are the opportunity which brings like, DeFi and the TradeFi basically, which brings more and more value to the organizations. So that is something which I see. I see it a very different future. There are so many assets lying with the different governments all across the globe, which are not creating any value. If fractionalize those assets, make it tradable, then it create more and more value, right?
Yeah, I personally think that the regulation part, like the AML, KYC infrastructure, is necessary to attract new capital, but it's important to that we. I just will continue this story about separating like the true DeFi core and like the user side, because I think personally that all this stuff need to be implemented, all this infrastructure need to be implemented on the user side. Because if we are trying to put all these restrictions inside the protocol, it's like not the DeFi approach, and then we again lose all the composability, all the trustless of the protocol. So yeah, I think it's important, but it should be like separated into a separate rail.
I would agree, and this is what basically our thoughts, our team's thoughts. That's an ideal situation is when DeFi builders, knowing their users, will build the solution for the TradFi, which could be plugged inside of their basically platforms, and then there is basically the user can choose whether it will be custodial way or self-custody way, and we have it on our end already. And my dream is to have like Société Générale app where you can just go and do your trade with the gold to USD or USDC to Solana, I don't know, whatever. And this is what it will happen if we guys will focus on that and we'll keep improving this tech, but at the same time, if the regulation will be evolving. So I hope in the next 5 years we will be sitting here and talking about this, how I'm using, I prefer to use DeFi more on Revolut instead of this bank or like any banks in the UAE. So it's good. We already touched this part. Do you want to touch the security part, or we can move to basically bets and trends in 2025 or in the next 5 years? What do you want to discuss more? Guys, what do you want to listen more? About the upcoming trends? Or about the boring security part? Okay, then do you have a question about the security? Come, yeah. Come here and ask, because you're the only person.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Andrew, and my question is, what security tools do you use to guarantee the full trust of your protocols? And do you ever think about formal verification or deep tech tools to verify your protocols?
The floor is yours, guys.
So on our hand, we use privacy-preserving techniques. You have transformation of data that you can do. I'm not talking about homomorphic encryptions, not yet, but we go to differential privacy. We add noise to the data. There is a many encryption technique, MPC, trusted execution environments are the kind of tech we use in Crunch that allows you to have this environment that nobody can open, or have this computation that's done on different computers, so nobody has the full information of the full data that you are working on. So there are solutions and protocol working on this. I'm thinking about Archeum, I'm thinking about Fala, I'm thinking about protocol like that. And then, yeah, I think security audits are maybe something that you guys mentioned before.
I could come. Go ahead.
For us, for builders, security is the first. In the early stage of DeFi, security was like second or the last thing that people think. They try to fork something, add new, I don't know,
and then library
NFT,
disappeared.
New graphics, something like new, it will be enough. Now security is first. As already my colleagues mentioned, it's MCP wallets. It's well-known, well-audited smart contracts, and different approaches of SecOps, which not allows to push any vulnerability to the code base. So security is the first.
Yeah, so I can tell about on the one hand side there are two things. So first is to protect users legally. Second, on the tech side. So on the tech side, we usually doing the tons of audits. Like we were the most auditable protocol itself. It's one part. Second part is efficiency and the optimization. When it comes to the code writing, we never do the complex 100 of sheets code. So guys are thinking the first and then do the like 4 pieces of code. and then basically, which is easy to audit, and then basically easy to make secure. And the second part is basically when it comes to AML protection, basically all this anti-money laundering regulation part, when we have on our side this but API called One Shield, which has either Scan, Check, basically Ethereum Labs, Blowfish, Blockades. Those companies are focusing on basically checking when the money comes from. So everyone will make sure that this money is not from the gray market. So this is two parts that we are using on our end.
Sasha, I want to point out one important part around the economics of security.
Yeah.
Between 2018 and 2020, I used to head a cryptocurrency exchange, which was the biggest in India at that point of time. And the amount of money, the amount of technologies, tools, and people we would use was dramatically higher than what several of our competitors were using. But the fact was that neither did we have a security incident, nor did they. So when we would stand on rooftops and shout out and say, we are the most secure or we are very secure, the customer had no way of judging us, who was spending lots of money on it, and somebody else who had just 2 ledgers or trezors and managing their entire custody with it. And as a result, the customer's inability to assess security except after an incident happens also causes organizations to view security investments differently.
If we speak about security on the client side, the security, it's like a both side shaped sword. Means that you speak about security via as protocol, security store your funds, and security on every layer. But on the other side, if we maximize the security, like happened in banking, traditional banking, for example, here in UAE, if you are a newbie, you come to bank and want to open a credit card, for example, for 20,000 dirham, they ask you to deposit 20,000 without any earnings. You just keep money, not on deposit, it's just holding it, and then allow to you to spend the credit card. Means that they're going to secure their risk also with you. And when you maximize security, it's on the both side game.
I actually have one of those credit cards, and they don't give 20 against 20. I have put 30,000 and I get to use 27. So they don't even give me 100% of my money.
No, so there is another fundamental things which we are missing out here is the regulatory framework to make sure the individual's right, basically. And that is something, that is the basic security which is required before the protocol built their own security. See, today, if there is something which is happening, then they do not know under which section and what is the action has to be taken so that the individual right can be protected. And that is the basic security which is required in Web3 right now, in the DeFi and the TradeFi. And then along with the platform security or the protocol security, which are important, like there are multiple ways and making it more, like you said, it has to be very easy to use because of the complexity. But now there are so many things which are coming in, making it like very quick by your fingertips, fingerprints and all, you can do the transaction. So these are the security features which are coming it over a period of time, which were already there in the Web 2, but it is evolving again in Web 3 also.
Thanks.
Yeah, just a few thoughts about the protocol security parts. I think there is a great marker for the protocol security. Obviously, no protocol can be called like 100% secured after any audits or like anything like that. But a great marker for me personally is when the code has the formal verification. Because it's not just because the formal verification is a good thing, but also just because if the protocol builders can formalize their rules into some formal model, it's already like a great sign that they are like understand how the protocol underlying protocol works. So I think that's also an important part for the DeFi.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions? Thanks a lot for the beautiful question. You brought a really nice discussion now. Guys, any other questions? No? Questions? I have a question. So guys, we touched a bit the topic about the mass adoption. Question, your bet, how many users are we having right now in crypto? Like, what is the number? I tell you, I have a report. I've checked it, so.
How many users do we have right now?
Yeah, right now. What is the bet?
400 millions.
Okay.
I think in volume is what, 60 billion daily?
Already? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh, okay.
My answer is too much. Too much
Too much
users. Yeah.
users? Are you sure? No, come on.
I think we need more capital, not more users. We don't need so much retail. We need more capital in DeFi.
All right.
I think that if I remove centralized exchange users and people who are just swapping tokens,
Yeah.
if you include them, I think the number is 400 million. If we
400.
remove those people and look at people who participate in DeFi, the number is a few million,
All right.
probably like 4.
Yeah. And what's your bet?
Yeah, I think it is a few million right now because this is not adopted in the way it has to be adopted.
So according to Crypto.com report, it's 500 million. So you were very close. And
wallet.
then
500 wallet?
500 millions of users, right? According to crypto, it's not a wallet; it's users who are actively participating. And then the last your bet, and maybe something that you want to share the audience when we reach the first billion, and something to tell to the audience. When we go, like, which year you think we reach, so we come back and celebrate together that we finally made it, this first billion.
2025.
2020, so this year, so we need just double it this year. Okay. What
I
about
guess
you?
next year.
Next year, 2026.
I'll say 2028, and I think it will come where people won't even know that they're using DeFi. Actually, they will just be, doing
Yeah, I like it.
everyday kind of things, and the moment DeFi will really have a value. This is the moment we would know we have won. Is when people will use it without even knowing it's DeFi.
Yeah.
According to me, it is going to be like 5 years. By the time the entire world has adopted this properly and the regulations will be there. Not, but in 5 years it will be like 3 times or 4 times because it is already there in the US, UAE is there. There is the regulation framework is there. Let's talk about the India, one of the largest by population. So the adoption there will happen as soon as government put their law.
Let's do it.
And you will not believe it, the number. So
All
the
right.
number multiplies.
Can't wait to see these numbers here on the market. Illia, what do you think?
I don't know, this year, 2025.
This year, all right. So we basically discussed that DeFi is not really dead. The true DeFi is dead, according to Sergey. DeFi is improved. We keep growing. And my ask to you guys, I'm doing this all the time. When you meet someone today, everywhere, anywhere, and it doesn't matter, it's a taxi driver or it's somewhere in the supermarket, just try to educate. Tell them what crypto is. And in this case, we actually can double the basically crypto user population even faster, and show them this beautiful world that we're working on. Show them what value they can do while using decentralized finance freedom. And let's be free. Let's be decentralized, and let's do something together more. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks, beautiful speakers. I really appreciate your time, and thanks a lot.